mean, for me, I got it, like, I was like, well, of course. Because the dying are the living, and the living are the dying. When you die, that cycle right there, like, things decompose. That's dependent on life. Life has to die for the thing to decompose. It decomposes to bring life, and then it keeps going. And then this cycle, and then we don't know. I mean, I don't know. We go through endless, I guess, of these lives as maybe creatures and etc. And then until we get a human life, is the only one that offers liberation from this endless cycle. Is a human life. So it's hard to get by from all the things I've ever studied in the last 4 years that I've been heavy into reading the text and stuff. It takes a long time, who knows how many lifetimes, to get a human life, to be able to be liberated, to be at this point where we are right now, even us in this room. Like, we don't know what we went through to get here, but we sure went through a lot. And so, and that's the thing, like, you guys, if you guys are a couple, love is another thing. That's another form of compassionate, where, like, you guys get an opportunity to love each other in a lifetime, and that's also special. I have purest loves in my life that I lost, but I learned my lessons. So when I see them again, they find them. So that's what I learned, and I learned about the suffering. It's everywhere. That is life. Life is displeasure because it's constantly moving, and we have this expectation, and we want to make things, even including our very selves, eternal in some way, whether it be by living or like attaching ourselves. That's another one, the big one, attachment. Attaching from. I mean, I looked at today. Even this morning, I was looking at things as an observer. It was a very interesting point of view. Comparative to yesterday morning before. So I woke up really early, like 3 in the morning, and started just hitting hard the noble truth, like all day. That's all I did till like about 5 in the afternoon. Videos, text, reflection, self-talk, self-meditation. So it was a good day of, and then I went through a couple cycles of testing as well, because there was a couple things that I was highly displeased of, and instead of reacting, not only that, but I was able to see the magic. That was the best part, was that as I'm dealing with this emotional grip for this situation, I'm going, wait a second, first of all, I'm getting too involved in my emotion. Let me step back. And as I'm stepping back, I start to see everything around me, and I'm like, I see that the guy who I'm having the issue with, I'm having compassion for him because he's dealing with someone else, and they're giving him the same sort of like experience that I'm getting from him, but in a different way. And so I was like, wow. And then I actually afterwards I was like, listen, don't worry about it. Like, we'll figure it out on Monday. I'm sorry. But if I didn't have that perspective, I wouldn't have seen it, because I was so into my own self-serving, greed, what I want, not what they want, not understanding his position, greed, what I want, not what they want, not understanding his position at all. We don't know what pressure he's under. So I was able to step back and then really, really generally say, you know what? Let's just talk about it on Monday. We'll figure it out, whatever it is. And even if it's a loss of money, it is what it is. For me, I'm out of time. We all are. I mean, in that, like, there is no time. You have to do everything that you need to do.
Okay, so let us meditate.
Thank you, Master.
Yes, real quick, and start off the morning. Let me do my chant real quick. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. at this time, if everyone would like to get into your meditation position, back straight, shoulders relaxed, relaxing all of the muscles on your face. As we enter into mindfulness of the breath this morning, setting our intention, aware, awake, conscious, knowing moment to moment, aware moment to moment of our breath, of the in-breath, of the out-breath, the rate and rhythm of our breathing, the temperature of the room. Let us take our first 3 deep breaths. Breathing in, you know you're breathing in. Breathing out, you know you're breathing out. Bring our attention to the rising of the abdomen. As it rises, as it falls. Take 2 more deep breaths. Breathing in, you are at peace. Breathing out, you let everything go. Breathing in, you are at peace. Breathing out, you let everything go. let go of negative emotions, letting go of negative bad habits. We bring our attention to a small smile on our face. Meditators are happy people. With a smile on our face, we wish ourselves, may I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free from mental suffering. May I be free from physical suffering. May all of your wishes be fulfilled. May you be well. May you be happy. May you always be healthy. May you be free from mental suffering. May you be free from physical suffering. May all of your wishes be fulfilled. We take 2 more deep breaths. We slowly relax our concentration, and slowly we arise from our meditation. Slowly, you guys can bring your attention back to the sound of my voice. So welcome back. We started out this morning coming here talking about health. The opposite of health is inflammation. And when we meditate as such, taking time off in our day, we start to repair ourselves. As soon as we close our eyes and take our deep breaths, we've already started the process very quickly. Cell reparations, both mind and body, where you can feel it. You can feel it. So yesterday was Chinese New Year, and my dad was playing games, and it's funny. I watched him playing games, and I was spending New Year with him, and he was driving this tank, and the tank has this health thing on the bottom. It's like 100% health, and when the other tanks are shooting him or whatever the case may be, the health goes down. But if the health goes down gradually to like 26, and then obviously he was losing the game, not even knowing he's losing, and his tank was going to blow up. So I said, "You want me to help you out there?" And he said, "Sure." So I take the remote and I help him out. And when the tank is away from the shooting and doesn't get shot, it repairs. It takes some time out to repair. You see it gradually going back to 100%. And I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." That directly relates to what we just did. So we're all like a little tank, right?
Mhm.
And if you think about the study of the human body, we kind of are. We're powerful, you know, we have defenses, we have walls, we have all of these things, this little tank body of a tank. We do, however, take shots from the world, verbal shots, emotional shots, and sometimes physical shots. And our health goes down. Doctors are trained to see when you're at your optimal or not. I'm trained to see whether your mental health is at optimal or not. And the EKG of your mind and the EKG of your body. And so it is salient, important that we all take that time necessary to repair ourselves. And you must know when your tank is at 40%, 30%, 20%, critical levels. And and the longer you meditate, the more it goes back up to baseline. People, again, underestimate the benefits of meditation when we have thousands of research that shows how beneficial it is for blood pressure, diabetes, blood pressure, digestive health, psychosomatics.
Oh, so that's good for the gut.
I don't think diabetes. I don't know where that came from.
No?
Maybe I need to meditate more. But when you look at the research, there's more than 30 clinical, empirical benefits of meditation. And if you want to live long, if you want to look good and feel good, you would spend the necessary time to meditate. During this week, I had a student, a mom of 4, told me it seems like there's not enough time in one's day to exercise, nonetheless meditate. And I said, all right, well, just stop for a second. Pen, paper. She said, okay, write down hourly. Give me the past 3 days hourly. What have you done? And she wrote it down, and she says, I had to feed the kid and the 7-year-old and the 10-year-old and the 4-year-old. And I said, let's go back to the exercising thing. You know, as you're changing diapers or watching them and playing with them, you can actually lay flat on your back, raise both of your legs up. That's called exercising. Or doing push-ups or pull-ups or using just your body weight. How do you think people in prison get so ripped? You know, most of the time they use body weight, right? She's like, oh, I never thought about that. I thought exercising was you need a treadmill or you need a machine. You have to be creative. Then along with my explanation with the student, I said, don't you ever think third world countries like my country, we're very poor. We don't have dumbbells and stuff like that. we find a tree and we go out there and we start swinging around like monkeys and still get fit. We do. We find a branch and start,
Wow, nice.
Yeah. Trying to break the branch and then fall off and hit our butt and do it again. The coconut trees, we'll try to climb it, and as you're climbing it, you're working on your abs. I mean, you kind of look like a very weird lobster trying to crawl a tree, but so there was a lot of first world complaints, and she was met by third world answers. First world questions, third world answers, and it dings very fast. But we must always find time. It's easy to find excuses, right? Oh, I have to drive Uber Eats. Oh, I have to take care of this. No. Oh, and my screenshots are on the phone I'm using for the Instagram, but there was this guy that went to Thailand and was under a guidance of a very strict meditative master, and they were giving very strict instructions. Everything was just strict. It's literally like mental boot camp of like CIA level mental boot camp with this senior monk. And it was good. And I know that it's good, but I don't deploy it. I don't deploy Thai methods on first world students that you would find the exit very quickly and try to slide down the exit. But it brought a smile to my face because when I saw the article, the guy was like, training from one of the toughest, most disciplined. I know those type. So again, it emphasizes your self-discipline, and you always have to pretend like you're training with one of those guys, or always have to pretend like I'm there, just pretend I'm a ghost when I'm not with you. And I look like I'm constipated all the time looking at you, whether you're meditating or not, putting away your phone, putting away Netflix, putting away all of that, and to prioritize this one thing called meditation. And mind you, they prolong their longevity and happiness and well-being and into the definitions of well-being by and through meditation 2,500 years ago, because they were all going through the same inflammation, even worse, and diseases. But yet they utilize meditation to heal the body, literally cellular repairs, to just will themselves, literally exercising willpower, and with intention and loving kindness to get rid of most of their diseases, or to slow the progressing of diseases by and through meditation. We know this from placebo effects, which is, they tell the patient, look, you have this disease and we're going to give you surgery. And so they give them propofol, and then they would, half of it was, they do nothing to the patient. They thought they were receiving surgery, and the other side received actual surgeries with actual clinical problems. And it was the same because of the mentality, because of they knew that they were going to get better. The placebo effect, just based on words, just based on the belief. And because people believed in the Buddha, his instructions, his methods, and then they felt the cellular changes, they felt the peace, the warmth, the reparations. They lasted this long. Heck, again, if the Buddha was wrong and the methods did not work, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be having this conversation. Researchers would not waste their time on this. They would be trying to continue looking for cancer cures. So I just wanted to emphasize that as you guys were talking about health, and you can do, and at the same time, you can do all of these colon cleansing and all of these things. And if you don't take care of your mind, wouldn't do you much good.
Like you said, they go together. So you have to also, God, thank you for that reminder.
Right. You have to take that very, very, very seriously. Okay, so let me talk to these two folks right here. What did you guys research over the weekend?
Vaginas.
Huh.
Vaginas.
Vagina. Oh, God. Okay, so go ahead. Vagina. I was like, oh.
It's a meditative state of profound stillness and concentration in which the mind becomes fully immersed and absorbed in the chosen object of attention. And this is the development of right concentration. I basically wrote about how to enter those states of consciousness.
Mhm.
So it's basically just finding your object of meditation and not becoming distracted, even if there's background stuff. So if your practice is mindfulness of the breath, you may be able to recognize access concentration when the breath becomes very settled.
Mm.
So if you have felt, if you're feeling like your breathing is shallow or it has stopped, don't take a deep breath because that will actually lessen the concentration. And instead, you shift your attention to a pleasant sensation within your body. And that can be like your hands, heart space, third eye, honestly anywhere that you feel a pleasant sensation. And there was something in the articles that I was reading that was a fun fact. So if you look at any statue of the Buddha, it always has like a smile on his face, and that isn't for artistic purposes. It's actually there for teaching purposes, to search for that pleasant sensation within the body. But so once you find that pleasant sensation, stay with it and expand it. And it said that nothing will happen at first, but eventually it will take you off to an altered state of consciousness that you'll be able to recognize. And that will be the feelings that you'll have are rapture, euphoria, ecstasy, and delight. That's what I got.
Eve?
I got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
Could I just interject for one? I just want to get one part so I can pay full attention to you. I just want to ask you, you said, because this happens to me a lot, if you feel you stop breathing, don't take a deep breath, focus on a good, what sensation?
A pleasant sensation.
Oh, okay, on a pleasant, it could be anything like what? You give an example.
Like your heart space, your third eye,
Okay,
even
cool.
your hands, wherever you feel
Anything
like
that
joy.
feels, okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Good, excellent.
So I thought this was pretty interesting as I started to dive into it. Just like everything that I've looked into, I could spend 20 years studying one thing. So I guess I'll start up here. In the oldest text of Buddhism, jhana is a component of the thinking mind. There's some equivalents. Jhana is meditation. To withdraw the mind from automatic responses into sense impressions, to burn up the defilements and leading to a state of perfect equanimity and awareness. The four jhanas, the immaterial states, are the base of boundless space, the base of boundless consciousness, the base of nothingness, and the base of neither perception nor non-perception. These are the objects leading to the corresponding meditative attainments and the immaterial jhanas. There's basically the first one, rapture and pleasure born from withdrawing, because it goes from like withdrawing and detaching from the things that you're attached to then detaching from the detachment, which is kind of like
That could be a
interesting.
tangle right there. Yeah.
So kind of just goes through it, equanimous and mindful, pleasant abiding, just finding joy in the meditation without attaching to the joy of the meditation is what I'm pretty much gathering from all the stuff that I've read so far. But it's cool because there's a lot of different texts on it, and the things like the Samyutta Nikaya and the Gita Nikaya. I think I said that maybe wrong.
Diga
Diga.
Nikaya.
It was cool because it gave some examples of how the Buddha was able to do some pretty astounding feats, superhuman feats. And it was also interesting that what I was reading with people who were the writing this was from dhamma.com. That's where I had 3 different sources. I wanted to continue to look into this without getting over attached to the idea of it.
Right.
But it's basically mind over matter, and it gave examples which I thought were really fascinating. Like the Buddha basically was on one side of the river and was on the other side of the river, and then was able to. They talked phase through different. Like it said, dive through the earth as though you could pass through water. So once he had mastery over the mind, there's a lot of things that are just astoundingly achievable. And then after I'm reading that, I'm like, well, that's pretty crazy. And then it's like, but the Buddha said never to show this to anybody because that could create, it could feed into the ego of it, which defeats the purpose of it, therefore withdrawing you from
Right.
Which I thought was even cooler.
Right.
It leads to more attachment, basically, when you can do that, probably.
Yeah, he said, the Buddha did not allow his followers to display any type of superhuman feats, even if they did exist. The Buddha knew that this is virtually impossible to display these powers without the inflation and propagation of the ego. But, he said, the jhanas do provide important stepping stones toward enlightenment and also encourage us on the path. The Buddha encouraged the practice of jhana, but not to display, which is even greater. It's like the more you can achieve, the less people you're showing people in a way. So that way it's kind of like, it doesn't inflate the ego like somebody who does a magic trick or whatever. Like, oh, look what I can do. And then there's, it says that some teachers only place the first 4 jhanas under the heading of jhanas, and then the remaining 4 to 5 are the formless absorptions, or as the formless realms. And it's pleasant sensations, joy, contentment, utter peace, infinity of space, infinity of consciousness, nothingness, neither perception nor non-perception, and then cessation. And
Cessation?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
As you reach each jhanic level, your mind will end up being tempted to remain at the previous jhanic state. Simply keep a balanced mind with no clinging to the pleasant or unpleasant, and you will progress to the higher levels. So as we continue on, and like, in other words, no attachment. That's what I'm gathering from this. Is as you continue to go through, you're not attaching to the formless or the form, and you become that nothingness. Then the jhanas are the main part of right concentration in the Noble Eightfold Path. The inside of Vipassana meditation can be found in right concentration as well. But it's primarily part of right effort and right mindfulness of the Eightfold Path, which again, everything comes back to that. There's a little bit more, but those are the big things that I found were interesting.
Okay, all right. First and foremost, let's explain what we're doing here and why we're talking about jhana so that Jorge can be caught up to the speed. So number one, we've already established the 4 noble truths, the basics of the 4 noble truths. We've already went through pretty much all of the basics that I've covered. So anyone who hasn't gone through all the basics, now we're going into intermediate Buddhism. And now you are learning it's like you all have done your pre-med and now you're entering to study to become a physician first year. And now we're studying certain emergency medicines, what I like to call it. And so jhana has to do with right concentration. And I want to read out of
tricycle here, tricycle.org, about jhana, and jhana is really deep. Again, I discussed last Sunday, that I didn't have to do too much analytical work, or some of the things that you're reading out of the text. I didn't have to do any of that. Why I didn't have to do a lot, and why do some people have to do a lot in order to achieve jhanas, is because the dust in their eyes, the defilements that they carry, so three of us here have glasses, and I would think that my glasses are a little bit more clearer due to all of the practices, all of the training, versus a student who's been dealing with drugs or whatever, how they live their sketchy life. And there's a lot of defilements in their glasses. So when we sit and trying to enter into jhanic meditation absorptions, that they find it very difficult, and there's always all these attachments onto worldly pleasures, to people and things and concepts and ideas. I once had a student, so adorable. I get messages all the time on my Facebook, and some people are like, "Good evening, sir. I respect you very much, comma, non-attached." And every statement that he made to me was non-attached. It was like, "I respect your teachings very much, non-attached. You are a great monk, comma, non-attached." And everything he said was non-attached. It was to bring awareness that he wants me to know that he's not attached to anything, anybody, my concepts, my teachings, my ideas. And I was like, okay, I got it the first time. the teacher got it.
It seems like that might even bring attention to the attachment of non-attachment.
Could be, yeah. You could, yeah. That's it.
But this is where we need to know how to go like this to the mind when it starts to get weird, with the analytics of words, and going deeper and deeper and deeper. It's like, back in high school when they're like, well, I had done know some people that know some people that know some people that had done robbed some people that knew some more people that had done killed somebody before. And you're like, what? Or it was like, well, my baby mama, sister's baby daddies, you lost me at where? The one thing when I'm doing family law, and they're like, there are certain words in Vietnamese that describe someone's baby mama, sister's daddy, where? And I'm like, wait, stop. No, like, Your Honor, can we stop? Can I get a piece of paper and a pen? And I'm like, okay, who is the baby's father? Where do we go from there for a second? And I had to draw basically a family tree, because they're saying some term that I'm like, that's really confusing. I can't tell the judge where this guy came from in your family line that owes y'all money, and that's why we're here suing each other. Let me stop for a second. And that's when the judges just drinks water, just watches the interpreter, and I'm just looking at all confused. So therefore, we have to. So again, you guys understand my analogy of explaining, and that's where we kind of have to watch our mind when it starts to go that route of, well, what is attachment? Why am I attached to this? And I'm attached to this because I'm attached to the sense of the non-attachment. And then you've created a hairball. And then when I ask you, well, let's meditate right now, and people are like, I can't, because I'm still attached onto that non-attachment thing. And and I'm like, let go. And it's like, well, I still can't let go, and I'm still on it. You're still on it. It's no wonder when certain people crack certain jokes or certain things transpire. Like me, sometimes when certain things transpire in a day that's really funny, and all of a sudden I'll just walk with my student and I'll just giggle by myself, and they'll look at me and they're like, Venerable, you still on that, huh? And I'm like, yeah. Quite attached to that event.
Yes.
But it was so funny. Just some of the things that students do, it's adorable. So we have to back up a little bit. Before going into jhanas, one must take a practical look and approach at every day. Like, are we still hanging on to certain desires, anger? And those two are fueled by the ignorance. Mm-hmm. What is it that we don't know about the Four Noble Truths that have led us to attached? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. And I disclosed this last week, how I still fall short of these reminders counseling students, and I get too close to them, and I do get attached onto certain ones that are pre-saints, literally pre-saints, and I'm like, and they still don't get the point. I'm trying to push them, and I go very deep within the ego of the student, and I'm so blessed that the student is very transparent. I guess there's something about, I don't have supernatural powers, but I guess the way how I ask the questions, the way how I ask, and how I ask commands them to answer right away for some reason. They have like no choice but to, they couldn't run. They can't run anywhere. So I'm very blessed. If I have powers, that would be one of them, which is to ask directly, like a detective, and then be like, where were you yesterday at 8? And you have, once you see the look in the eyes, you realize that the detective already knew where you were. Right. And you can't tell him, and you knew that even if you twitch your eyes to the left, he would know. So my students, I guess they feel that, or if I'm projecting that, the power to detain their mind and the power to get information and to get their ego out and examine their ego and how to crush their ego. I haven't crushed anyone's ego yet, but I just wanted to get to measure their egos. Very interesting thing. Way back when I dated this one girl, she was just the way she was, but she knew this certain part of her, and I'm pointing her out her ego, and she says, so it's her higher self trying to override her ego, trying to tell me. And it was the funniest thing. I didn't catch it back then. And she says, would you just yield to it? And I'm pointing at her ego. I'm like, you see your ego, your argumentative ego here with me? And she's like, well, I'm young, just yield to it. She wanted me to yield to the ego, but she knew that her own ego proliferates when it does. She can't do anything about it. Her higher self, her higher conscious, her third eye can't go in there and hold it down and restrain it. So she told me to just let it go, just let it pass. But it is so difficult, right? It's the same analogy as, I don't care what you think, but I care about you. I care about you, but I don't care about what you think.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. But it was so hard for me because I was so attached to her, and I was just like, damn it. And then I'm looking at her, I'm like, well, you know about this, about your ego. You're telling me to yield. Why don't you tame your ego? Oh, and I was just like, I can't do this. I'm like, I can't. So we broke up. Yeah. So the ego is just like a can of worms. It's no wonder you see the image of half Buddha and half evil, or that monster guy looking thing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
And like half of us can be Buddha, and then half of us can be the total devil, a complete just devil in an instant's notice. Yeah.
So I've been to those realms where I faced that dark side, but that's only because I had to do it. You know, because if I didn't do it that way, and I didn't know my own limitations with regard to like going into those defilements and stuff, I had to go. But I didn't become one. So you know how they say, don't fight a monster lest you become one.
So now I've entered the stage that it's so funny. So my younger students, my 20-year-olds, they run and they go out party, and I'm like, yeah, how was that party? Did you get lit? And like, yeah, yeah, and your brother went with you. Yeah, how was that like? And then so I'm bringing out the ego. I'm asking, and the ego comes out, and the ego is like, as soon as you hit a note on point, and they're like they'll talk to me in a very cordial way, and all of a sudden, when I ask about, well, how was the party? Did you, I use vocabularies that match their level. Did you get lit? And they're like, and then their eyeballs start rolling, and they're like, and their voice changed, and they're like, yeah, it was crazy. We went from very cordial and professional and all the 10 yards of yes, sir, no, sir, yes, venerable, to it was crazy. Just the way they say it. And I was like, oh boy. And then they go into it, and then they, when you get them to talk about their experience, oh, they love it. Their ego comes out. Their ego gives all the secrets away, and they're like, yeah, we were the devil comes out. And of course, the Buddha sits here, and the Buddha's like, such as life, such as kids. Kids will be kids. So there were times where I wanted to go head on with them like this. And I'm like, should not. You'll chase them away. Should not. Just apply love and acceptance and understanding. And I just become this phoenix. You can imagine a phoenix with its wings out even longer, even bigger, and even warmer, more feathers. And I just wrap them around rather than judging them or I can go there. I have two choices, right? To go there, hit it head on with punishment or stern or strictness and more rules and stuff like that. Or I can just understand that it's a phase, stage, and age, and to just accept it. So it's a can of worms. Now I see why Jen Cha has only a handful of students and not. All right. So we must uncomplicate our life by and do the practicality first. Okay. And that means looking at the details of your life every day, moment to moment, what we're attached to anyone, to anything, to money, to concept, ideas, retirement. I couldn't tell you through the one-on-one conversation, people are so attached onto the idea of money, success, future, recession, depression, all of these. And to try to simplify that. Yes, ma'am.
Can I go to the restroom?
Yes, go ahead. Anyone here need to stretch a little bit or use the restroom? Go ahead. Look at ways how you can simplify your life, uncomplicate your life, literally simplify your life. It is what it is. It can't be what it ain't.
Right, that's right. That's a good one. I love that's one that I use every day. It is what it is. Whatever it is, whatever's happening.
Don't push it. Don't force it. Don't put pressure. Don't create pressure.
The good thing is I'm also aware of the karma. So I'm working on those very, very strictly. Not creating more. So definitely working on simplifying. Would you say I could say review my attachments, observe my attachments?
Always review
Okay.
at the end of the night, every night.
Oh, thank you.
What did I do? How did I do it?
I do it.
Can I do it better? Is there more I could have done? Did I do the best I possibly could? And probably the next question would be, was my ego involved?
Oh,
Me, my, and I. In a day, if you have to use a lot of me, my, and I, there goes your red flags, orange flags. Me, my, and I. Oh my God, you bought fruits?
Yeah, primarily. And I bought-
healthy. Guava?
yeah, I brought a lot of vitamin C because it's flu season. So, and I bought some cheats, but wait, they're minis, so you can cheat a little bit. Just a little bit.
Oh, this brings joy to my heart.
Good, I'm so happy.
Guess who's not on their digestive health?
You.
I said you. So you guys are aware that Chinese New Year was yesterday, right?
Wow, so happy New Year. Which year are we in? I'm a dragon.
I don't know what you
Not
were.
I. There we go. No, I.
Just let everyone know how lost I am.
Oh,
Well, not like that kind of lost, but I just don't care. I don't attach
yeah.
onto Lunar New Year or what animal we're at right now because I really don't. It doesn't serve anything from my standpoint, from my clinical standpoint. It doesn't serve anything. And you should. billions of people attach on, oh my God, it's the year of the cat, it's the year of the dragon, it's the year of the ox, and we're gonna win $1 million or something. Oh no. So you see me at the monastery yesterday? 3 seconds, I'm gone. And everybody else lighting incense, asking Buddha for stuff, and I'm like, well, keep asking.
Right.
I'm out of here.
That's another
And I put my hoodie over and I try to play undercover. Still, they spotted me a mile away. I was like, dang it. And so anyway, so Chinese New Year, so my student brought in unbeknownst fruits. I'm all about this right here. Confessions of a Monk, but there's berries. I wanted to show people because this is part of giving more and taking less. But oh God. Mindfulness. Whatever happened to mindfulness? Okay, and mind you that people do this and they put fruits in front of the altar thinking that the Buddha is going to eat it. No, Buddha's not going to eat it, and your dead relatives are not going to eat it. So stop putting food and wasting food and contributing to carbon footprints. But for the sake of, you know what? I'm saying it, but I'm doing it. There you go. And yeah, I think for once people were like, "Oh my God, look, he's practicing our ways." No, Buddha don't get no donuts. If I give him diabetes, I get bad karma. Okay, so back to what we were talking about. Okay, this is why it's not dry being with Jidao. So again, I don't know. That's just why journaling is important. It's why your notebook and your pen and right in front of you is the most. Pen and paper get you point A to point B with enlightenment quickly, because this is where you see your attachment. Because I'm only asking, I don't read your stuff. I only read your research, but whatever you want to put in, dear journal, today sucks because this guy said something to me. And because he said this to me, I took it very personally. And tomorrow I want to throw eggs at his house. But if you wrote that 4 times a week because you have whatever reason or problem with this individual, you can see there's attachment with you and him. There's issues between you within yourself, you and him. And when the Venerable says uncomplicate your life, you must now relook at what happened in your life and what you can let go. Slowly let go and renounce. Renounce. And when we're here and when there's a statue of a Buddha behind me and when there's a monk here, so when these guys bow to me, it's not bowing to me, they're bowing to the robes. So what does the robes mean? What does the robes and the Buddha behind me means? It means submitting to the triple gem. It means that I'm here and I want to learn to give up. And I'm starting in giving up whatever I can give up to ensure my own peace. That's what that means. Submitting. Hands up, kind of like AA, you know, part of AA 12-step is surrendering. Surrendering. No different than when you go to church. You're on a Sunday. You know, when the priest says, lift up to the Lord and start looking at your own faults. And he says, we're all sinners, forgive and ask for forgiveness. Well, it's part of letting go. To forgive is to let go. And to ask for forgiveness is to also let go. And to ask others to let go of us. What a profound thing, right? What a beautiful and profound thing. That's why people feel lighter when they get out of church.
Do you agree with the saying? I don't, but I'm saying, do you agree with the saying, forgive but don't forget? I feel like that's not letting go. I feel like that's still perpetuating the issue.
Yeah. Well,
you know, I forgive, but I don't never forget. I'm like, well, that's the same thing. Like,
you're right. Good observation. Our body, we're designed, mind and body, we're designed to not forget. That's why we call that trauma. We call that trauma. We call that PTSD. You done raped me, you done touched me, you done said something to me, you done abused me, you done whatever. And quite frankly, I was subject to all of that. And quite frankly, I have forgotten it all. You know, if I was to be asked to recollect it, I can, but I've let majority of it go because there's no point in hanging on to it. And I've said this over again, and whoever misses the point of my words was I said, look at yourself as a visitor. They beat you up, they abused you, or they called you names, or they kicked you, or they hit you with a car, or they threw a bicycle at you. Well, that's subject of being human. Okay, if you all are a fish, and you are a fish, and I take you are a fish, right? You're squirming around right now, and I throw you into the ocean. Well, what is the nature of reality of being a fish? You're subject to red tide. You're subject to getting eaten by another fish. You're subject to a crab, grabbing onto one of your fins. Right? Cold water. Oh yeah. Cold water. So then we give you this thing called intelligence in the brain to think as a fish. So you're a smart fish, right? So then a crab, you're near this crab, you're like, ooh. And then the crab catches you and damages one of your fins, and now you mad as hell. And you're like, damn it. I can't swim like I used to anymore because he done took like 20% of my fins away. That son of a beep. But you keep on saying that for like the next year. It's already done. It's over with. You know what I mean? Should have never gotten close to a crab or whatever. So you mad as hell. So that's us humans. We're in the pond, the pool, the ocean of BS of the world. So we get ourselves into trouble because the Me Too movement, the me, mine, I, the selfie movement, it happened to me. When you start personalizing it, is where that great danger comes. The great suffering comes when you start personalizing it.
I'm learning to be grateful for those experiences instead of like personalizing it.
You shift because it shapes you where you are today. Yes. I mean, had the things not happened in my life, I wouldn't have sat here. I would have continued, mindless out there. But yeah, so when you redirect your mind and you look at, okay, it happened, what can we do about it to be more helpful, to be more productive, to make sense and meaning of our previous suffering, and how we can bring that gift to the world and offer that to the world. The work you do on yourself becomes a gift for the whole world. And that's why some people are victim of crime, victim of DUIs. They take those gifts or lessons that they've learned and they go and reteach it. They use everything that God gave them and go reteach it to other people. But for a while, I did hang on to those stories and was very angry. So it's a stage. It's a process that you go through depending on what you went through in life, the trauma, addiction, and abuse. There'll be a time, could be years. But again, the more you hear me and the more you hear other monks let go, and the more you hear the teachings of letting go, it makes it easier. Eventually the ego is convinced. Some people's egos are harder and fortified by steel walls, and some are wooden boxes. So yeah, and again, having great respect for the monk, having great respect for the teacher, and if the teacher tells you slowly let go, and if you do what the teacher tells you to do, you let go. One of the reality therapists that one of my students sent me, he's a very straightforward reality therapist, and he says, just do what I tell you. Straight out. I mean, you see this man's face, you just do it. You're like, oh shit, I'm gonna do it. You know, um, and therapists don't ever say that because it treads ethical boundaries. You can get sued for that, and people look to sue therapists because they're like, this is not in your textbook. You know what I mean? And so, the therapists are like they leave so much room for the client, so much freedom for the client to think on their own. And when I'm in religious robes and I'm carrying out counseling sessions, I have the power at the right time it's a rare thing that I do it, but I'm like, shut up, just do what I'm telling you to do. Do it. It's a rare thing because you can chase people away by doing that. But in those moments, their mind is just so lost, and they're bad. The lawyer in their head, the ego in their mind, But I got a kick out of that when they interviewed that particular reality therapist. He was been a psychiatrist for 25 years. Quite frankly, at the time of the video, he was like 70, so he didn't really care. Go ahead, sue him. He don't care. Okay, all right. Oh, okay. So I think you all get the point about uncomplicating things, the slow uncomplication of your life. Now I want to read some stuff out of here real quick. And as you do what I'm telling you, you start to sharpen the edge of the sword of concentration. You start to sharpen that edge. And that edge is necessary at the moment of severe physical suffering, physical pain. When he came back, he out of all things, diabetic medication. So yeah, play with that. Mind you, he's a doctor of Oriental medicine. Played a little too hard. I haven't released one of the videos, but there was the austere practice of the Buddha back in the day with his bones and stuff like that. Well, at the temple, they got that. Ashu wanted. I may ask for it for teachings. But my dad went there, right? He wanted to be the austere guy for some odd reason. Played a little too long, played a little too hard. Came back in ketoacidosis. But I thought he was gonna die because it started gradually. He's like, I can't. I'm tired. I need to go in the hospital. And he had this client at the office, and he was struggling to listen to the client. And then he says, "Look, I'm getting really tired. Maybe we should go to the hospital." And I was like, "Oh, shoot. All right, let's go." Then he couldn't get out of the chair. And I was like, "Okay, all right. 911, what's your emergency?" 8800 49th Street North. Conscious, alert, breathing, but fainting very quickly. Get them all here. Now we go in the hospital. He's stabilized, but he's in a lot of pain. That ketoacidosis is attacking his stomach for some reason. And I said, "Dad, now's a good time to look at me as if I am the Buddha." And the Buddha is telling you right now to focus on your breath. Focus on your breath. Focus on your breath. In breath. Breathe in. Out breath. Breathe out. And I started giving him directions. And these were emergency medicine in breathing. These are emergency medicine in anapanasati. Whereas if their mind starts to faint, hopefully the mind doesn't start to faint. Hopefully their mind is still luminous to hear the instructions and to just follow the instructions so that it takes away the physical pain. The mind, one-pointed concentration technique, the rising and falling, it will take out whatever concentration of that pain. Pain is a good thing. Pain's telling you, hey, dude, we need attention in this area right now. With the doctor's waiting for the medicine to get in there and kick whatever the heck you got's butt. But meanwhile, the monk is trying to, and then there's other methods too. There's like where we go there and we massage certain parts, or we try to deflect the pain by creating a secondary site so that their mind focus on this right here instead of that right there, that organic causation right here. So here's my father I'm trying to save, and I was giving him guided meditation. Now now you have to pretend like you're in the forest and I'm not there with you, nor is any monk around. So when you get bit or when you fall and you broke an ankle or something like that, now you have to use right concentration to buy you time to alleviate your own physical suffering and mental suffering, physical pain and mental severe pain. And you do that by through the breath, because as you gradually practice every single day, it becomes second nature. And when I say go into it, and you basically apply anesthesia within yourself by through the breath. We know that you already have all the chemicals to trip. The Buddha taught you how to trip by and through breathing techniques. Trip, damn it. Take the trip now. Do it. And that's when you can trip. You will access nirvana like that. The same experience I share with all of you when I went, the same painting that Julia gave me back there. Right there, I went there. Can you hand me that so I can show it to the rest of the world here? Yeah. Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Again, this was in 2017. In 2017, during just some of the hardest practices of my life, I just wanted peace. And it's one of the best desires to have. I wanted it, but then I let it go once I accessed it. And when I went to here, I couldn't feel my body anymore. So when you get hit by a car and you're on the stretcher and you know how to enter jhanic meditative absorptions, and if you're lucky, if I'm there to just give you some empowerment, some push, and I'm like, go there. That's our key word. Go there. You go there. I mean, hell, if I get hit by a car and if I can access it again and quickly, that's where the question becomes whether how you have practiced and how fast you can access it like that. So the propofol, the anesthesia that goes into the IV and into your vein, it's so awesome. It's white. You see it when it and as soon as you see white fluid, and as soon as you see that white fluid, you also start seeing white clouds, and you start, everything is far away, and you lose your senses quickly. You die. Pretty much you die. And then they work on whatever procedure that they're working on you. So therefore, oh, by the way, I have unleashed one of my secrets, in case you didn't notice. This was one of the secrets that I hold for students who've reached this far with me. Someone here wrote, where do we learn this? They're all excited now on TikTok, like, holy shit. He's teaching us literally to have out-of-body experience, astral projections, just by and through the breath alone, to save yourself. Literally, because if you complain this is heavy and is painful and achy, well, you can also get out of it by jhanas, like I did. And that was amazing. And it gives you confidence to say death is safe. And it is like taking off a tight shoe. It was too bad I couldn't stay there long enough. I don't know why I came back or how I came back, but I'm back. Never accessed it again in serving the people. So I have forsaken my own peace and bliss for the sake of serving the people for the past 5 years. So my point is that sharpen that blade, so when you need it, you can cut into what you need to quickly and save yourself. It's no different than, you have a bad infection on your skin and the doctor's like, oh, scalpel, and just done. Seconds. Simple surgery, seconds. All right, right out of the text, tricycle. Perhaps no aspect of the Buddhist teaching has been more misunderstood and neglected than right concentration. Yet right concentration is an integral part of the Buddhist path to awakening. It is, for instance, one of the qualities cultivated on the Eightfold Path. In general, Buddhist teaching can be divided into the three parts, right? The threefold: Sila, Samadhi, Panya, ethical conduct, concentration, and wisdom. Or to put it into the vernacular, clean up your act, concentrate your mind, and use your concentrated mind to investigate reality. Again, the first full training is to clean up your act, sila. The second, concentrate your mind by and through the breath. Number 3, and to use your concentrated mind to investigate reality, the true nature of reality. I'm adding some words of mine in there as I'm reading out of the text. Now, as the world is watching me teach, I'm pretty sure you all are not going to hold me in contempt for eating sweet donut on a Sunday a day after New Year. This is how attached I have been since it got here. Clearly, I am not cleaning up my act. First Buddhist monk in the world eats donuts as he's talking about jhanas. Yes, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so I can take another bite. Attached to the savoring of the sweetness. I'm never achieving enlightenment, by the way. Yeah, I shake my head too. You know, my professor said in college, he says, my doctor told me to stop smoking, stop drinking, stop eating certain food. And my professor said, well, I might as well just be dead.
Right.
But the way he said it in class, and we were just in our 20s, we were like, Professor? He's he kept it so, Eckerd College is amazing. Their professors keep it so real. They really do. Oh God, these are so good. Yeah, I'm looking towards the diabetes in the next couple of months.
No way.
Monk gone rogue. Any article on tricycle.org is like
How do you spell it?
tricycle.
Like a regular, like a.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's just tricycle.org.
Tricycle.
I can't turn this laptop because it had all these wires, but
Tricycle. Thank you so much.
tricicleta.
There you go.
Tricicleta.org. Venerable got jokes today. Let me get some water real quick. I see food, I'm happy.
I think everyone feels. I know I do. Especially pizza.
Well, it's not just that students that give more and take like look at this. Oh, you should see some of these temples that I've been, this like Laos temple I've been. I swear, the world comes to an end and you need water. I've never sat, and there is this temple was Sam's Club. This temple made Sam's Club look like a joke.
Wow.
Because people came in and so that's why monasteries, certain abbots would be like, okay, all right, look, we don't need any more water. Please stop bringing water here. We don't need more ramen noodles. We have enough to feed the entire nation. We can't keep the lights on. We need to we need money, or we need robes for monks and stuff like that. Like I've sat and I was just like, I looked around and I was confused at one point. I'm like, am I at a Sam's Club and there's Buddha statues here, or am I at a monastery? I don't understand what's happening. But this shows. I mean, this shows how thoughtful you are in giving more and taking less.
Oh,
And I have decided, I have changed my policy that I was whoever gives more and take less, because literally a handful few out of the 1.3 million followers, I was going to make them all Buddhist angels. I'm going to canonize them all Buddhist angels. So you're in essence a Buddhist angel.
Thank you.
So are these guys.
Wow.
Says who? School of Jidao. All right.
Thank you so much. But not that. No.
No, don't attach it to the Buddhist angel concept. Oh man. Ooh. I love being a teacher. Non-attached.
Yeah.
The Buddha thus makes it clear that a concentrated mind is necessary for the proper examination of reality. The jhanas are the method he taught over and over again for the developing of such a mind. The word jhana literally means meditation. In the suttas, there are 4 jhanas and 4 immaterial states. In modern times, these 8 states are simply called the 8 jhanas. And the jhanas are 8 altered states of consciousness brought on via concentration, and each yielding more concentration than the previous. Upon emerging from the jhanas, preferably the 4th or higher, you begin doing an insight practice with your jhanically concentrated, indistractable mind. This is the heart of the method the Buddha discovered. It reminds us that these states are not an end in of themselves. They are simply a very useful way of preparing your mind so you can more effectively examine reality and discover the deeper truths that lead to liberation. Yeah, profound. The method for entering the jhanas begin with generating access concentration. The phrase access concentration means concentration strong enough to provide access to the jhanas. It is distinguished from momentary concentration, which is less concentrated, and from the fixed or one-pointed concentration, which is the stronger concentration associated with the jhanas. Here they give you all instructions on how to do it. You begin by sitting in a comfortable upright position. It needs to be comfortable because if there's too much pain, the unwholesome mental state of aversion will naturally develop, which is, damn it, my back hurts when I'm sitting here. Again, unwholesome states of anger within one's body, anger because of the process that is happening. That's why we practice loving kindness, so that you may be able to sit in a way that looks really good, but if your knees are killing you, you'll be in pain and not experience any jhanas. You will need to find some way to sit that is comfortable, but you also need to be upright and alert, because that tends to get your energy flowing in a way that keeps you awake. On the other hand, if you are too comfortable, you might be overcome with sloth and torpor, which is also an unwholesome mental state, which is totally useless for entering the jhanas. Which is why we go back to the 5 hindrances, right? Supremely aware of the hindrances. So the first prerequisite for entering the jhana is to put your body in a position that you can hold for the length of the meditation period. If you have back problem or some other obstacle that prevents you from sitting upright, then you need to find some other alert position you can maintain comfortably. So as you all come here and you guys sit the way that you have been, you see that we develop tolerance and endurance, right?
Oh, yes.
Right. And there's a reason why the teacher demonstrates that by sitting here himself and not sit on a lazy boy sofa, leather with donuts to the right of his seat. Right. So again, that's why blessed are those who come, blessed are those who are in the direct guidance, and the teacher is the first one to demonstrate that. You know. Now, this is not to say you cannot move. It may be that you need to take a position as you discover something. My knee is killing me. I have to move because there's so much aversion. If you have to move, you just have to move. Just be mindful of the moving. The intention to move will there before the movement. Notice that intention, then move very mindfully, and then resettle yourself into the new position. Finally, notice the mind working to get back to that place of calm it had before you moved. Ooh. So, this process encourages you to find a position you can keep, because you'll notice the amount of disturbance that even a slight movement generates. And in order to become concentrated enough to have the jhana manifest, you need a very calm mind. Generating access concentration can be done in a number of ways. A common means for doing so through following the breath, the anapanasati. Ana means in breath and out breath. The word sati means mindfulness. The practice is therefore mindfulness of breathing. When practicing anapanasati, you put your attention on the physical sensation associated with breathing. It is extremely important not to control the breath in any way. Just pay attention to the breath as it naturally occurs. If you control the breath, it does not make it easier to focus, but it makes it too easy. You won't generate sufficient concentration to enter the jhanas. So there I will stop and I will comment on this, which I haven't. I think I can do it a little bit more justice if I go into details. The nostrils right here. So what I've been teaching you all is just to bring it back to the tummy, because that's where the basics lies. But then as you become more intermediate, you try to actually feel the sensation of the breath moving in and out of your nostrils. And at first you'll try to control it. You'll try to your mind will start doing all sorts of things. But again, just trying to observe it. That's why during my guided meditation, I said, just observe the natural pleasure of the breath, and to observe the natural unpleasantness of the breath, or the dukkha in the breath, which is the suffering in the breath. Because we realize in breath, and if you try to hold it, you see that hold, the suffering in the hold, and you have no choice but to release. Then you're at ease again. You let it go. That's why I said in breath, you're at peace. Out breath, let everything go. You let the breath go. You let the sensation go. You let everything go.
It's so amazing, that breathing.
Right.
It's so what is it?
But people read this out of the magazine and no monk is there to explain it to them. So they're like, this is retarded, or this is dumb. I don't understand why we're talking about the breath. Like, yeah, I'm breathing. And that type of attitude, or that type of approach to this is such a boring thing, but it's not.
No.
But when you start just observing, and when I say analyze, don't get too analytical with the breath, but just trying to track the movement of the subtleness of the breath within your body, you realize there's so much work to be done. And you can also switch mode, because when your mind begins to jump, you can cycle from that to the counting methods: in breath 1, out breath 1, in breath 2, out breath 2, especially when anger arises, or if you're not patient or tolerant. and then your mind can jump again, and you're like, oh, we're thinking about the past, and then you switch mode into what is the temperature in this room right now, and you try to absorb all of the air through your nostrils and try to analyze the temperature of the room, of the air in the room through your nostrils. And if your mind jumps again, then that's when I tell you, I want to put your hand on your tummy and realize you're back here. But hopefully it doesn't get to that part, and that's why I've been preventing that from happening by through the simple practices that we have done. You do the simple practices, and eventually you've already made changes in your life in regards to sila, so that it is conducive, concurring, consecutive to samadhi. Right? But an unskillful teacher would just go straight into samadhi without addressing the sila, or examples of how they're living their life, or into the details of how they're living their life, or what they need to move around so that the drama doesn't, just the stuff that is at home now here, and then they have problem with anapanasati, and then they most likely to just quit because they're like, I can't do this right now. So again, as you guys go home, maybe in a little bit, let's see, 11:33. Why don't you guys try that right now for a second? Just back straight, shoulders relaxed, and in an alert position. Take your breath, but just notice the flow. Literally notice the in-breath, the upper lip and the nostril area. And try not to force anything. Now slowly open your eyes. All right. Now, when life sucks, meditate.
Yes.
When life sucks, don't distract yourself with Netflix. If you want to burn up time until you die, meditate. Because it'll be the best way to die. You will prepare yourself to die in the most blissful way. People are like, well, I have too long to live. A lot of people have that idea. I have too long to live. Okay. Yeah. They don't see the opposite. Because they don't keep sila. They don't keep the precepts, so they think that it's dragging, or they fail to make changes in their life, so they're still with the drama, with the toxicity in the home. Is to tolerate the people in the circle of BS in their life. So they're like, that's why the suicidal ideation comes up, and like, this sucks, I want to leave, Well, this is a karmic sentence that you have to write out. The human realm is a karmic sentence. How we write it out is choices we make every day. One of the best way to write it out is breathing. Just literally just eat, poop, sleep, meditate, and refine that. Slowly your problem begins to diminish. Slowly you come up with ways to solve your problems even better. Nothing good happens when you keep on running around and wasting time and don't return back to the breath. And life sucks even more. And you have pulled yourself away from this practice, away from me, away from the Buddha, away from the jhanas. It gets to a point where we're back to drugs again, back to doing the same old stuff again. See, smart monks who, well, some of them, life sucked for them in the past, so they decided, I'm going to become a monk because life sucked. And then they don't want anything to do with any drama with any monasteries. They want to be left alone. They get their training, and then they go into the forest, and they have accepted that some of them are luminous enough to realize that their life, that they have a karmic sentence, like literally the remaining, their life is now a karmic sentence, and they will try. That's one way to achieve merit. If it's just meditating by yourself, you start to accumulate really good merits. Not only you're solving your problems, but you're also chipping into that karmic bank. And they'll sit there for hours and live in a cave and just do alms, and just, they're very to themselves. They're literally, some of them become private Buddhas, Pacheka Buddhas. But they'll write out their sentence, and until they die, whenever they die, but they know when they're gonna die. Once you have refined this, you will know when your biological clock tells you, "Hey, dude, we're getting ready to go on the next stage. We're getting ready to meet the Buddha soon, so get ready for it." But as I sit here with all of you, sharing this very profound moment with you, and when we close our eyes, when we see the second that passes by, and the preciousness of the breath, the preciousness of the seconds, and the allocation of time in between those seconds of breathing, it's just amazing. Hopefully you feel the same way I feel when we're studying the breath and talking about it. The one subject that, I mean, the Buddha learned from Shiva. Shiva had 120 things that he was teaching, and the Buddha just focused on the meditation part. You know, this is a very smart man, a very wise man, and he just chose, out of the 120 things that Shiva taught, he chose meditation, because that was the answer to everything. By and through the breath. The answer to life is by and through the breath. You don't need a PhD in psychology to get answers to life and how to deal with life. You just need to focus on your breath. Impermanence, suffering, and the non-self lies in the breath.
So it says the first factor is one-pointed concentration, focusing on the breath. By maintaining one-pointed concentration, you will not get distracted by sense pleasure or desire. Focus on your meditation subject, usually the breath. When laughter and joy become noticeable, this eradicates the hindrance of aversion. The happiness and comfort that focuses on, the happiness and comfort that follow eradicates restlessness and worry. As concentration gets stronger, you aim very well at your subject, and this eliminates sloth or torpor, which is mental inactivity.
The other thing is, as monks practice in the forest, and if you ever find yourself face to face with a tiger, well, truth is, if this is your karmic cycle playing out, and if this thing was going to tear you to pieces, it's going to happen. It's nothing, you're not going to outrun the tiger in front of you. So monks in the forest also have such fear, and they actually, when they're fearful, they sit underneath a tree at night, hopefully on like a bark or something. And when they're fearful, they go into jhanic absorptions. So they no longer have to deal with what they're hearing or dealing with what they're seeing in the dark forest. And likewise, and we got monks getting eaten by tigers all the time, by the way. Yeah, all the time. They know that. It's the karmic, it's the karmic thing, right? The forest Thai monks, they just, and all you have is shredded orange left. But in those moments when they're faced with the tiger or whatever, they stand, they realize, okay, well, so they pretend like the gun is pointed at them. They pretend like the tiger is the loaded revolver with the hammer back. And what do you do when someone points a revolver at you with a 357 bullet at you? You accept your fate. In those moments, you're just like, Well, before you pull the trigger, give me a second. And he access nirvana, and he lets go of everything, and he gets eaten. Hopefully, he gets eaten by. Oh, I'm sorry. Hopefully, some time passes by as all that is unfolding. So, I'm talking about getting eaten by a tiger and TikTok just suspended my live. They're like, you're inciting violence. No, you just access suspended until another week. So, all right. Well, no more TikTok.
That's hilarious.
So much for AI.
That's so funny.
Oh, we'll talk about revolvers and guns and stuff like that. So, oh, Jesus. All right. So, anyways, that's why we have the YouTube. So, but anyways, but their training is that, shoot, I'm gonna get eaten, so I might as well start accessing nirvana quickly now before I get eaten. And either his peace will wear off the tiger, or if it's his fate, then it will be done. But he most likely will feel very little of those pains because he would just know how to get there. He just how to get there. But that's how profound the breath is, and that's all they have to resort to. It is their one tool and weapon. Yeah.
Man, can I just have this while you're quoting it? Impermanence, something and something lies in the breath.
Impermanence, suffering, and the non-self.
Thank you.
Also known as the 3 marks of existence.
Thank you.
Yeah.
3 marks of existence lie in the breath.
Always. It is the direct evidence when people are seeking, when a monk says, in life you should see clearly suffering, change, and rarely are they under control. And people are like, what? And we're like, well, the evidence lies in your breath. See if you can see those 3 things in your breath right now. So if you actually close your eyes and you notice impermanence, you see that no 2 breaths are ever the same. They change in variations. They change in rate and rhythm.
I never knew that.
Mm-hmm. So there's changes. You see suffering in the breath because, like I said, the in breath is oh yay, and then the out breath is like, and then you try to hold it or you try to control it. You see suffering there and then you see that there's is nothing, you can't control it. If you hold your breath too long, what happens? Right. Mm-hmm. And then you also see within your body that there's body changes. Again, our religious practice is mind and body. Mm-hmm. So because you have to remember that back in the day of the Buddha, 2,566 years ago, he taught by talking. There's no book, so people couldn't do what you guys are doing here. So when the Buddha says, close your eyes, you will see the 3 marks of existence right now with me, right now. You want evidence? You want to choose this practice? We can do it right now. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And within a matter of seconds, people are like, oh, I'll be damned. The evidence is right here. He has discovered it. And then they put their faith and trust into him, and then they realize, okay, all right, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so furthermore, in the reading of Tricycle, when noticing the natural, uncontrolled breath at the nose, you have to pay attention very carefully. In doing so, you will notice the tactile sensation, and then your mind will wander off. Then you'll bring it back, and it will wander off. Then you bring it back and it will wander off. Eventually, through maybe not the next time you sit in meditation, maybe not even tomorrow, next week, next month, you'll find the mind locks onto the breath. Any thoughts you have are relegated to the background. The thoughts might be something like, wow, I'm really with the breath now, as opposed to when I get to Hawaii, the first thing I'm going to do is... Whatever method you use to generate access concentration, the sign that you've gotten to access concentration is that you're fully present with the object of meditation. So if you're doing metta, loving kindness, you're just fully there with the feeling of metta. You're not getting distracted. If you're doing the body sweeping practice, you're fully there with the sensations in the body as you sweep your attention over the body. You're not thinking extraneous thoughts. You're not planning. You're not worrying. You're not angry. You're not wanting something. You're just fully there with whatever your object is. Literally, if I give you an M&M right now, your favorite color M&M, what's your favorite color?
Blue.
Blue.
Green.
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 Green. I've done this with kids. I have helped kids access what is being described here because they're like 5-year-olds and they're like 10-year-olds. So I said, I give them all M&Ms. I go around my M&Ms. I said, don't eat it. First of all, don't eat it. And I have them put them in the cup so they can't, so whenever they're playing with it, I can see whoever's reaching and I can see the M&M so they don't eat it. And I said, everyone, that's your favorite color, right? Blue, blue, blue. Now everyone close your eyes and just repeat with me, blue, blue, blue. And then slowly their mind is fully concentrated on the color blue. It is a one-pointed concentration technique. And they're at peace with just blue. And they're concentrated with just that. And they're literally helping them access nirvana at that age with just a color. Because the color is the object of meditation.
Okay, got it. So you have to have an object.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite
It
frankly.
can't be mental. I mean, like it has to be something in the physical realm.
Your breath can be the object.
Okay.
Your
good.
breath
Thank
and
you.
stuff like that.
So that is okay.
The breath is always the easiest.
Thank you for that.
Because you always have your breath. You may not always have a statue of the Buddha.
Right.
You may not always have the venerable. You may not always have the donut to look at or whatever the case is. You always, as long as you're alive,
You always
have your breath.
Thank you.
I don't know, because the whole time I had a donut in my mind the whole time. I got another. Well, there's 12 here. I got another 10 more to go. As you start to become concentrated, you might notice various lights and colors even though your eyes are closed. These are signs that you are starting to get concentrated. There's generally nothing useful that can be done. Just ignore them. When you actually do get quite concentrated, the random blobs and laser shows will disappear. They might be replaced by a diffused white light, which is a sign of good concentration.
White light. Oh, okay.
It always appears for some people. It never appears for others. And many people find it sometimes appears and sometimes it does not appear. But again, there's nothing you need to do with that sign either. It's just a sign. Remain focused on your meditation object. Yes.
So the white light, is it like all encompassing? Like or is it like?
At this point, who cares?
Right.
It doesn't matter. They're just giving you the potential and likely chance it might show up. And experiences vary per individual. They're telling you to stay with the meditation
Right.
object.
Thank you.
And whatever unfolds there. But see, if you are preoccupied with the white, and if you're looking for the white, and if you're waiting for the white to appear, you're already attached.
No, I was more interested in investigating what I had experienced, as opposed to like aiming. I wanted to know what I already went through.
Well, it
could
ain't.
be. That's all.
Like, it's probably not what we're talking about here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, you have to, because I don't know how you've been practicing meditation previously, but this is the direct method of the Buddha, and it is aimed at this particular goal, to bring the mind under control, to attend to it. And I would say that whatever you've been practicing in the past was not effective. Was not effective. So you got to remember, we are the Theravadins. We are the originals that teaches this. Every other came after us, except the Hindu world. The Hindu world's got some of their meditations before us. But in regards to the black belt of mindfulness, this is as black belt as it's ever going to get in regards to the effectiveness and efficiencies. Not everyone who undertakes jhana practice becomes proficient in this skill, but the only way to find out if that works for you is to try learning it. It is indeed learnable by serious lay practitioners as well as by modern monks and nuns. May your journey on the spiritual path be of great fruit and great benefits to all beings. That's the end of that. And I'm going to hold this up so y'all can see what I was reading. This is tricycle. Is entering the jhana. Focus comes first. So yeah, whoever writes, people write on tricycles, I swear they have like 2 PhDs in Buddhist studies. Because it's so dead to the point. It eliminates. I don't have to do too much thinking. It thinks for me. I just have to expand on where I think that you guys need expanding on to understand as comprehensive right now for jhanas. Okay, but it requires reflections. But again, just do the breath. Just play with it, observe it. Just a lot of observing. You are your own scientist. Your whole lab's right there. Your whole lab is right there. Okay, no mice necessary. And just focus on that, and you will start to have a lot of insight into the true nature of reality. Again, the 3 marks of existence. You see that in the breath. Slowly, you apply that everything else in life. And when everything else in life pushes that button, you go back to the breath and remind yourself of the 3 marks of existence. He's not kind to me. Well, he's not going to last forever. He's suffering. That's why he's not kind to me.
Mm-hmm.
And rarely is he under my control or anybody else's control. It is what it is. And back at peace we are. Non-attached to him, to things that he said, anything. Car, human, idea, concept, politics.
Even the good things.
Right. Any questions so far? No? Pretty cool, huh, John? It's pretty cool, huh?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really fun to learn about. It's fun to read upon it. And they start to read the Nikayas. This is really interesting.
If you wanted to go into the 8 jhanas, the 8 stages of jhanas, you can just know academically. And Jose, if you want to, Jorge, right? Jorge, not Jose. I always get that mixed up.
You're fine. I know you remember me. It's just
Yeah.
the name. It's not. I'm not attached. See? The name means nothing, but something at the same time.
Yeah. Jorge tried to review the Noble Eightfold Path in details.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, in
Yes,
details.
indeed. I have them. All right.
Yeah.
I will. Thank you.
How are you studying? Do you look it up on YouTube or do you?
I do a lot of YouTube and reading. And now I have Chat GPT. It's amazing.
What?
So there's this new AI thing that they have out.
Yeah.
That's literally they jam packed every single.
Oh, it's
search
like
thing.
Google. It's like Google. I've heard
Way
about it.
better than Google.
Oh, okay.
Like leaps and bounds.
It can type for you and stuff. It can do all sorts of.
The advantage is that the research is right there.
Okay.
Like I did in porno, but that's not all I use. But I use that as one of the reference points because you can say, "Tell me more," and it will go deeper and deeper, and it'll talk to you like a normal human. It's really something interesting. So it saves me the time, which is what's worth anything, from spending too much not reading because I don't mind that part, but like trying to find the jewels.
Let me review your sila because you haven't been here for a good minute. So I'm gonna review some things with you. You're aware of the 5 precepts?
The 5 precepts. No. I mean,
Don't kill,
Oh,
don't lie, don't cheat. Cheating is part of harmful speech, right? So don't kill, don't steal, harmful speech, intoxicating substance, and sexual misconduct.
yes.
Right. So review that within yourself. Make sure you're not engaging in any of those.
Got it.
And if we are, we need to start cutting back drastically.
Okay.
My next review with you is any drama, any circles of friends that constitutes drama.
Okay.
Any drama in your life.
Right
People.
now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do I have any?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a couple of things that need to get resolved. That require either my sternness or
So anyone that disrupts your peace, you may need to take a break from them for a while. In this practice, if you want to get the most out of it and conducive to what we're doing here, you just gotta take a look at it and just be, you mean a nice way and just tell people like, hi, I'm on this meditative spiritual journey, and whatever we were doing before and what we're doing now, I don't think is it's not good for me right now, and I think we need to take a break, and I'll let y'all know when I come back. So we still homies though, wiggle wiggle wiggle, but I gotta take a break from y'all.
That's right.
You like that? Yeah, it's what I would do. I mean, if I'm stuck in the game of selling drugs, weed, guns, or whatever, and I'll be like, let me holler at y'all. What up, homie? Wiggle wiggle. I gotta take a break from y'all, but I love y'all to death. I love y'all to death, but I gotta take a break from y'all. All right? Don't take it personal. I mean, know nothing. Y'all know, the Buddha. Everybody know the Buddha. It's easy blaming it on the Buddha. Just blame everything on the Buddha. Like, the Buddha done says a lot of things, and I believe it. And I got to go and be with Wusa. While the police looking for y'all, I don't want them looking for me. So that's the first thing, as you're coming back, any students that comes back who are not consistent with the practice, I always do a review with them in the first, and it goes back to the method, which is sila, which is the gift of safety. And make sure that you are giving yourself the gift of safety and other people the gift of safety, so that it's easier for you to concentrate and just live a peaceful life and be at peace when you're sitting here, And it makes learning, studying easier, and more time for studying too.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the more drama we have in our life, we can't really concentrate. We have to entertain people and not get paid for it. So during these times, you do your 8, hit the gate, go home, study, meditate, pretend like you're in a confinement to a monastery, somewhat of a monasteric life, so that you don't go astray, in which these two have done. Model students so far, because I can't imagine you guys, oh, Julia, let's study meditation during the day, and at night, let's hit up Ebor.
Oh my goodness. I get my kicks enough at work. I was standing there waiting for the elevator, which I'm going to start taking the stairs, but I was standing waiting for the elevator, and I made my bosses crack up. I was just waiting to go downstairs to use the bathroom, just sitting there. Not thinking, the door opens, and my 2 bosses walk out. And I went, I've been waiting for you. And they both just lost it. Smallest little things entertain me the fullest extent now.
And likewise, when I was giving the guided meditation with you guys, notice how I cycled through the breath with you all, and then I went to loving kindness meditation. So when analyzing the breath becomes boring, and wherever you're at work, taking a break, or waiting for Uber Eats or the app to go off or whatever, you would just sit there and you would put on the chant of metta, or in your head you would start, may I be well, may I be happy, may I be free from mental suffering. And you start wishing yourself. It starts to override everything that's going on in the mind in a day, the acquired emotion in a day, negative acquired emotion in one day. And so you kind of put penicillin on it. shower it with penicillin, and that's the penicillin of loving kindness. So it keeps your mind calm and cool and more focused for the next task ahead. So it's no different than exercising. These are mental exercises in between your breaks, in between your day. Just like the one gal that told me about exercising in a day, she had no time for it. I'm like, what? Lie down on your back, 2 feet up, and start working on this. I didn't think about that. I know. That's why we're here. All right. So you got to be creative and always return back to yourself, all in one day. Let me see if I have any closing remarks.
So what was the happiness you said?
Maybe well. So it's called loving kindness meditation. You have to look that up.
Okay.
Loving kindness meditation by Bhikkhu Bodhi. Bhikkhu, Bhikkhu. No, Bikkhu. Yeah, Bikkhu. Bhikkhu Bodhi, Bodhi. And when you're looking at his loving kindness meditation, you sit there for like an hour listening to it. You need to pretend like, well, he is our teacher. Bhikkhu Bodhi is considered his holiness in this tradition. It's no different than people listening to the Dalai Lama, and they have to translate what he's saying, but yet the whole world is sitting there waiting for him to hear. And like, Pope Francis, when he's speaking in Spanish, the whole world waits literally like this. So when you're listening to Bhikkhu Bodhi loving kindness meditation, exactly, you discipline yourself to sit there and and Jorge, you've been given the CBT books, so try to catch up on it and
Yes.
on point. And you're going to be reteaching us CBT when you come here, chapter 1 to 3 this week for you.
All right.
And try not to paraphrase. Try to use specific. Try to use sample examples, and try to use examples in your life and how you use it and how you So each student somewhat have a different instruction based on how I have identified their mind jumping or how they present information to me. So when a student is all over the place when presenting information, I will give them specific instructions on how to study and how to represent what they have studied to me. That way you're training your mind to be on point with one subject, and not to jump from one thing over and over and over again. Same thing with the study of the Four Noble Truth and the Noble Eightfold Path. That will be reviewed periodically into the elements of the first, into the elements of the second.
Okay. Thank you.
And by the way, I did see the Goldstein's book on the shelf, and I came very close to buying it only because of the art on the outside. Holy cow, the art on the outside of the book alone. That's a very you just the size of that book's gonna be very comprehensive. Anything by Joseph Goldstein is gonna be gold.
That mindfulness book is really, really, really easy to understand too.
Mm.
So if somebody does have trouble with maybe like advanced texts, like Bhikkhu Bodhi is very, very advanced when it comes to when he's translating the Pali.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I mean, with that book, I'm like looking words up, and then with mindfulness, it's just like, boom, and I would say it's probably like a 12th grade like understanding versus, advanced college level.
Yeah, I'm trying to get as much books done as I can in my library so that I can travel. but I think that I have to get it just because for the just the art of it on the outside alone. So it's only $20.
Yeah.
I've been known to hoard books, so I.
What is the name of it?
It's called Mindfulness by Joseph Goldstein.
Okay, thank you. Check it out.
Yeah.
Any gems? Thank you. Joseph Goldsmith?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
He does lectures on YouTube too. You can look him up.
I do the YouTube because it's like instead of listening to like the air conditioner or something, I listen to stuff like that stuff, like educational or affirmations. I don't just listen to. I like silence. I'm okay with that as well. You know what I mean? Like instead of like, because sometimes you don't have a choice. So
Enjoy the silence. I used to distract my mind with everything, YouTube and music, and
yeah,
once I cleared
Sorry,
my
I
mind,
had
cleared all
crazy
the drama
yesterday.
and all the nonsense, and then I came to peace. And
But I'm here every
a
Sunday
lot
at
of
9
what
a.m.
was happened in life, and to the bit where I'm at now. I no longer listen to lectures or documentaries or music for the sake of distraction, but for the pure enjoyment of it. So
right.
I've understood there's a big difference between when I used to, for instance, music.
Yeah,
I listen to music to distract my mind from
Correct.
one thing, and now I listen to it for the pure joy and bliss of listening to the music and being present with the song, whatever it might be it just an instrumental guitar, some blues. I like
anything.
music.
Yeah, it's just all in. Yeah, I mean, there's beauty in it all.
The consequences of not studying this stuff, I've over the past week, I counsel a lot of relationships, and with permission to share, there was a gentleman that was like 60 years old that was still in the dating world, and I was able to identify through the psychotherapy session that he just never stopped to reflect what he was looking for in life and just wanted the fun. Oh my God, 60 years old and still in the dating game is tiring. It's tiring. Never stop to, again, do the things that we're doing here. So diagnosed with ADHD at 60 and waiting to get on medication, ADHD at 60. But it is not just the neurological underpinning of the ADHD. There's the emotional component in the ADHD. And that's where I was getting at. But I think that he may be set in his ways to where I don't think he's ever gonna sit here with us. And he's just gonna be on medication for the remaining balance of his life. But something that I will press, and you all never forget this, is the emotional component in your life. That emotion will ruin you. It will steer you all sorts of ways if you don't tame your emotions. People do the things that they do because of their emotions, emotionally driven by why do they eat a lot, right? Why do they smoke a lot? Why do they drink a lot? Because of the emotional component in their life of depression, of anxiety, and never took the time because it's so painful to dive deep within. So as soon as an uncomfortable emotion arises, this comes out, right? Addictive eating,
Or other patterns. Yeah.
or other pattern, or gambling and stuff like that. And I saw that this week, and as soon as I got the insight from the counseling session, I like breathed for him, and I said, I was like, yeah, I don't know, I was like, I got tired of the dating world when I was like 20 something years old, and you're 60 and you're still at it. And I mean, he was really still at it hard. And when I asked him, when are you going to slow down, find a partner for life? And he couldn't answer some of the questions I was asking because he never dove into his mind deep enough, reflective enough, thoughtful enough. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, well, you must have a lot of money or something, because that's a lot of time, energy, and effort, right?
Yeah.
To just date with no fulfillment. There was the lack of fulfillment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just felt so much compassion for him. And I was like, oh boy, like, well, you're 60. It's not too late to start veering over here. Figure it out. Start that process. But the reason why I didn't buy the Goldstein book was because I had a bunch of books on emotions, and I want to revisit it again. I want to solidify it again. Just because that's just getting the best out of people. It always has been. We knew that. I just need to expand on it deeper within. I need to make their heart move with my teachings. That they'll change if their heart is moved and their ego is exposed.
CBT says that your feeling is what you think. Basically, makes sense.
Your thoughts driven by your feelings. You think the way how you feel the way how you think.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people think about the feelings part. That's rooted in that. The feelings is rooted in insight meditation, the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, which the third one is Vedana Nupassana. Vedana is mindfulness of sensations and feelings, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. And as soon as something is unpleasant, people don't investigate it. Pleasant or unpleasant, they don't investigate it. They just leave it as that, and they're like, no, they're actually enslaved with the pleasant and get mad at the unpleasant, and then get lazy with the neutral feelings. Yeah, so they don't really. So yesterday I got someone gave me a magnifying glass, a nice one too, like hardwood, whatever thing, but it's used for teaching. They know I need it for teaching. And the magnifying glass is for close examination, right? I mean, if you were to like see something, newspaper or something, you use a magnifying glass. And people don't put a magnifying glass on their emotions, on their feelings. Anytime, especially men, when you talk about feelings, they're like, I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger, I don't have feelings. And then they deal with things with duct tape. Right.
Lock it up. And eventually it just turns into a Coca-Cola bottle of Mentos.
The rap world, the entertainment world hardened the hearts of my students. The rapping industry, so they think they're gangsters, and they're now getting. Some of them have. Maybe I should not say that, but they're becoming more gangster. They're trying to fit Buddhism in, but they're becoming more gangsters. I'll say that. And lack of empathy and sympathy for the world and people in their circle. So that's what we're battling with. Okay, I think this should do it. So let's take a couple more minutes to observe the breath as we conclude today with some music. And yes, go ahead. Anyone else need to use the restroom or stretch a little bit before we get into this?
Supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho Ujjupatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho Nyāyapatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho Samiti patipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho Imani panca kumbhang vilayati yataidan Adivasetu no bante pani mahabodhin buddharupam sakalam.
So here we will learn and practice not to control our breath. So don't force the breath. Initially, we will take our first 3 deep breaths. And the purpose of the intermittent deep breaths is to calm, bringing the mind to a calm until you can do that automatically and naturally. But as starting out beginning meditators, it's something that I want you all to remind yourself frequently is when things get overwhelming, is to take those deep breaths because it will automatically bring all of your senses and sensations back. Just the deep inhalation and the relaxation aspect of that. So at this time, we close our eyes, back straight, shoulders relaxed. Back straight, shoulders relaxed, relaxing all of the muscles on our face. As we enter into mindfulness of the breath, we put a small smile on our face as it will generate happiness, all the nerves under your skin, all the way up to your brain. It will send signals to your brain that we're going to be practicing happiness by and through the breath. We take our first 3 deep breaths.
Pujayami muningansa Sripada Sarohe Pujemi mundam kusumina nina Punyena metena jahotu mamham Kumpang wilayati yatailambe Ayo tatayati vinasavang Adivasetu no bante Paniyam parikampitam Anukampang upadaya Patiganhatu kuntamang Adivasetu no bante Gilana pancayang imang Anukampang upadaya Patiganhatu kuntamang Adivasetu no bante Bojanang parikampitam Anukampang upadaya Patiganhatu kuntamang
We focus on the in-breath at the nostrils and above the upper lip. The rate, the rhythm, the intensity, the calm.
มังกายเนวาจาจิตติเนปมาทิเนมายากตังอัญเจยังกัมมิปันติบุริปัญญตตากตกายเนวาจาจิตติเนปมาทิเนมายากตังอัญเจยังกัมมิดัมมังสังดินทิกากาลิกกายเนวาจาจิตติเนปมาทิเนมายากตังอัญเจยังกัมมิสังฆังสุปฏิปันเนอนุนตเรขันธังกโรมหาวีโรมิตังกโรมหายโสสารนังกโรโลกดีปังกโรจุติงกโรคนดัญโยจันปามงโกมังกโลปุริสาสโกสุมาโนสุมาโนดีโรเรวโตรติวันเตโนโสภิโตกุณสัมปันโนอนุมตันสีจานุนตโมปัตุโมโลกปัญโยโตนาเรโตวรสารติปัตุมุนเตโรสันเตสารโสุเมโดอังกคุมบโรสุจาโตสัมบโลกังโกเกียตันสีนาราสโกอันเตตันสีการุณิโกธัมมดันสีตัมโนสินนันโตอัสโมโลกีอินโสวันเตสัมวโรปุนโสวันเตสังปุนโดวิปันสีเจอนุปโมสิกิสัมปริโตสันตาเวนสปุสุขตายโกภะโกสันโดสันเตวาโกนาคัมโนรานันเดโอขันสโกสิริสัมปันโน
We remind ourselves of mindfulness of the posture, back straight, shoulders relaxed, maintaining the small smile on our face. Slowly, we relax our concentration. And when you're ready, you can arise from your meditation. Anybody bliss out?
Oh yeah.
I just noticed that they were all different breaths.
Mm,
So that was what's different for me today.
mm. Amazing. It's free. It's built in. It's right there. Solve a lot of world's problems. Have people meditate. Very good. So we're going to conclude today's session. Anyone have any questions?
Should we study for the week? Should we continue the jhanas?
The 8 stages of the jhanas, where the text said 4 or higher, 4 or higher. I want you to be aware of each of those stages and what they want us to know, what they want you to know.
Comment on the meditation. I didn't want to leave it.
I know, me too. I could have sat there for a lot longer. This is starting to happen more frequently when I get into the meditative state. And complete, utter, just silence of the mind, just attention to the breathing. And I start to see things that goes away, and then the next thing I know, this has happened more than once, where it's been an hour or longer. It feels like it's been minutes, and I'm like,
It can be addicting.
yeah,
And you can actually easily attach onto peace.
right.
And the Buddha cautioned us to be careful, don't even attach onto peace because it's not going to last. But there'll come a point where when you practice this, like out in the ocean or out in the woods or something like that, and you realize that I just want a nice, quiet life. And the stuff in the city is noisy. And my mind is already noisy, and I don't need any more noise in my life. You know? Yeah, and it's bliss. So I encourage you both to, if you like to travel, save up so that you guys can come visit me wherever I'm at.
We've been talking about that recently.
And there are certain monasteries in Vietnam that I've already set up. It's up in the mountains. You just get there, just like how I was in like in Vietnam and in Georgia. When I was at the mountain, there was this little peak where Jonathan was like, oh, he sat there, and I was like, whoa, we see the clouds. You're like cloud level, and you can see down and everything. You can see the creation of the earth. And then we sat there and we meditated, and it's just, you don't want to get up. And it's no wonder why some of these monks truly go into the, you have to ask yourself, you have monks that are MD, PhD, MS, MAs, they're intelligent people, and they left everything, their occupations, their job, to go into the forest, into the mountains, and live there for years, and they love it, and they're the happiest humans you ever meet, and the most insightful. And when you ask questions, they give you like one sentence, and you can sit with that sentence for like 6 months. Those are saints. Those those are sakadagamis. There could be arahants. They could be, anagamis, and just be careful with the ones that utter a sentence or two, and you sit there for like 6 months thinking about that one sentence. Yeah, you have received words from a saint, instructions from a saint. So you all will get there. Saint or not, we're trying to cultivate ourselves like the same, by and through the same instructions. These instructions were made uniform, transparent, and visible to everyone. There's no hidden secrets in there. The only secrets I hide from you guys is by stage. And I don't jump to like, oh, hi, Venerable Chida, let's start to study jhanas and insight. It wouldn't make sense to anyone. So you have to go elementary level first, and slowly you get the point. And then you know how to teach it back to others. So save up, save up and buy the experience of traveling versus material things. Cars nowadays are like average $30,000. What the hell?
Yeah, they went up.
Because of the chip.
The chip, yeah.
Because of the chip thing, and they know that. And then we got Tesla now, plant. Well, not plant, but
one here?
Yeah, 34th Street, right?
Wow.
Right. Take 34th Street all the way down to 40th Avenue. So US 19 becomes 34th Street. 34th Street becomes US 19, and you go down for about 12 minutes, and you can see a huge, humongous Tesla. It's like the size of a Sam's Club.
Yeah.
So this city is now becoming more of Silicon Valley slowly. We're starting to see developments downtown where the waters are. Where there's water, they're going to make it into Silicon Valley.
Right.
Everything's going to go up. But this is where I encourage my students to look at saving money and, car and all that, but try to buy experiences, not material things. That's something that you can access the experience anytime when you're sleeping, when you're where you can access literally those memories and experiences and relive it again, actually. So it's like you're paying like $1,000 to $2,000 for a plane ticket, but yet it's just recurring. It's like replay over and over again. Wherever you go, it makes you richer. It makes you richer in experience. Not you won't be necessarily materially richer, but we've already seen the total opposite of that. We've seen celebrities commit suicide. Had they travel more and get into spirituality more, like Keanu Reeves and stuff like that. Angelina Jolie, who travels to Buddhist countries, you see that they don't take their life. Less likely to take their life.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey is now getting really philosophical with his explanations of depression and stuff like that. So they need to use their influence, the magnitude of their influence, to teach the world, because everyone knows that they're funny, knows that they're great, that they're great actors, but now they need to bring some real reality to save people. That's what we're starting to see. So with that being said, let everyone go to lunch. It's 11:36. So Yatha Varivaha Pura Paripuranti Sakarang Evameva Ito Dinang Petanang Upakapati Ichitang Patitang Tumhang Kimpameva Samechatu Sappe Purentu Sankapa Chando Panyaraso Yatha Manicho Teraso Yatha Sapi diyo viwanjantu saparo agawa vina satuma devawantarayo suki dihayuko bawa abiwan danasi lesani jambuta bajani no chataro dhamma watandiyayuano Sokang palang bhavatusa pamangalang rakantusa padevadasa babhutanufavena sadasoti Bhavantu deva vadasa pamangalang rakantusa padevadasa patammanufavena sadasoti Bhavantu deva vadasa pamangalang rakantusa padevadasa pasankhanufavena sadasoti Bhavantu deva. May you all be well, be happy, be free. Know what it's like to be truly at peace, to achieve true inner freedom, liberation. May you know what it's like to enter into jhanic experiences, full concentration of the mind. Be still, be calm, be tranquil, be serene. To taste peace, to taste nirvana, moment to moment, minute to minute, second to second. And with a small smile on your face, you realize what he had been teaching all along, the treasure of his teachings, and what it means for you and the quality of your life to live long, to prosper, to be truly happy, to spread that happiness to others, to keep your heart open, to inspire other people, to contribute back to humanity. May you all be healed and be a source of healing for everyone. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Let me read you all the blessing verse. It's called the Anumodana, and the meaning behind it, right? This is given when monks, when there's offerings to monks, and when we do alms round, and you hear the Anumodana. So the Yatha Varivaha Pura Paripuranti. It's just as rivers full of water fill the ocean full. Even so does that here given benefit the dead, the hungry ghost. May whatever you wish or want quickly come to be. May all your aspirations be fulfilled. As the moon on the 15th day, or as a radiant bright gem. Then we went to Sapi Tiyo Viwanjan to Saparogo, which is may all distresses be averted. May every disease be destroyed. May there be no dangers for you. May you be happy and live long. For one of respectful nature, who constantly honors the worthy, which is you. May one, which is you, of respectful nature, who constantly honors the worthy, that is us, the worthy. 4 qualities increase in your life: long life, beauty, happiness, and strength. And that is the Jataro Thamma Watan, the Ayuano Sokang Palang. The Ayuano Sokang Palang. So that is the long life, beauty, happiness, and strength.
Thank you.
Mhm. And then the last one is, may you be free from all disease, safe from all torment, beyond all animosity, and unbound. So these are trademarks of Theravadan blessings and chants at festivals, and upon gifts, or upon inviting monks to eat, invite, when you bring gifts, donations, and the anumodana, and the sharing of the merits, it goes to you, and it goes to people who have died in your life. So everything that you have, everything that's why we give more and take less. And it's such a beautiful verse, but I reserve it at the right time to explain that, just because it's more meaningful when you wait at the right time to explain what each word actually really means. Yeah, it's just beautiful. So, anyways, thank you all for coming and joining me. We will stretch this all the way to February. I think February, probably the end of February, is going to be last. Maybe. I haven't booked the ticket yet. I actually will have more information after Monday. So after Monday, I will get, but I know that I have to stay at least to the end of February, because Sahari is coming down with the kids. And then tickets, if I want to save money, I'll probably book it out and get tickets right away. So, but anyways, yeah, to continue studying, continue reviewing, and see where I have skipped. If I skip something, your job is to now detect it. Well, just for these two, not you, Jorge. These two right here. Yeah. So you go back into the 8 stages of the jhanas, and maybe after we're done with this jhanic thing, I will review the Dhammapada. The Dhammapada is very profound. Let me give you some samples of the Dhammapada real quick. The Dhammapada is considered an emergency medicine. Oh God, look at that. It's long. It's long, but it's considered emergency. Kinh Pháp Cú in Vietnamese, we call it. Yeah, Kinh Pháp Cú. Pháp Cú, Pháp is the teaching of the Buddha. Cú is rescue. Pháp Cú. Some of these are not easy to read. Wait, what's going on here? Verses and stories. Oh wow! So their stories. Okay, well,
Did you guys say punches?
Oh.
Your punches? Did I hear punches? Oh no, they're Upanishad. Oh, Upanishad. Yeah, those guys are. Yeah, they're a group. They were a sect of Hinduism. They were like a set of scholars, Upanishads. Actually, I studied them for a little while.
So there are stories that accompanies. Well, this website's amazing. It has everything. My goodness, it has everything. Tipiteka.net. Tipiteka.net.
What is that? I never heard of that. Can I have it?
Tipiteka. Let me
TP?
see. Yeah, Tipitaka. Tipiteka. Tipiteka.net. Tipiteka.
So no TikTok, but Tipitaka. Nice. Thank you.
Sounds something like a totem pole. Tipiteka. So like verse number 5 here says, hatred is indeed never appeased by hatred in this world. It is appeased only by loving kindness. This is an ancient law. It's just like one sentence right there. Just as rain penetrates a badly roofed house, so also passion penetrates a mind not cultivated in tranquility and insight development. Okay. So that means your mind's got holes. Your mind's like a roof, it's got holes. And passion and greed, anger, delusion can seep right through it. And when you cultivate tranquility and insight, then your roof is like pretty much indestructible. Nothing can seep through the little cracks, no leaks. So the Dhammapada is like, and then there's stories and stuff like that. But this takes a lot of time. Yuta Tammo goes through the stories, the study of the Dhammapada. This is like a whole series of studies of the Dhammapada. They go into the stories when the Buddha taught. Those who love storytelling, Dhammapada is for them. But I doubt that I'm go through the stories. I will go through the verses and the applications of examples in the verses. So let me take this real quick. Hello. Hello. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Oh, okay. Yes. Yes, I'll be down there. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So you guys are free. I know you guys got to get lunch and all of that, but you did a great job on reviewing all of this, and we took the best of the 2 hours and 20 minutes that we got. Oh God, I lied. 3 hours. 3 hours. So we'll see you guys all next Sunday.
Yes. Thank you. Do you need to handle your stuff? Are you gonna leave it?
Oh no, I need my exercise.
Okay, you good. All right. I wanted to offer.
I need to go up and down, up the stairs. Good for heart health.
All right, guys. Next week, have a wonderful trip home. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you.
Thank you for your presence. I'll meet you back. Be good.
Oh, you guys feel free to grab some to eat here. Take some with you because goodness gracious, this is a lot. You guys still eat this, huh? Oh, yeah. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I got a bag of those at home.
Oh geez. Premium guava.
Lucio News.
Okay, thank you all for joining on social media. Fortunately, TikTok got suspended over one of my teachings. So much for AI.